Welcome to the AC 24/7 Top Story Countdown. We'll guide you through the biggest news of the day. Our focus, advocating our rights, advocating health, and advocating Earth. Here's our pick for number 4.
Ukrainian Su-25 attack aircraft given the go to assault Russian positions. Against all the odds, Ukraine's Air Force is still very much in the fight, pilot Oleksiy tells me.
Are you helping the ground forces now a lot in the south with the counteroffensive operation?
Yep.
The mission's extremely dangerous, especially for frontline attack aircraft. Ukraine's aces trying to keep Russian air defenses off balance.
We lost many young pilots from our brigade. This taught us to change something, and day by day we try to fly not the same as yesterday.
While Kyiv says its counteroffensive is progressing, the battles are tough and gains hard to come by. The biggest threat, Ukraine says, Russian air power. This video purporting to show a Russian combat helicopter taking out a Ukrainian vehicle. The Ukrainians say Russian interceptor aircraft, like the advanced Su-35, often stop their old MiG-29 jets from operating near the front lines. This MiG-29 pilot, who asked us to hide his face and use only his call sign Juice, tells me.
You can be like a maverick, but without a proper hardware, you can't win.
Here they go. There goes one.
The Ukrainians say they need F-16s from the U.S. and its allies to level the playing field and to fully utilize the air-launched missiles the U.S. has already given them. In between the taxing wartime missions, pilots are already learning the basics of the F-16, hoping they'll be able to fly them in the future.
We are trying to improve our English skills. We are flying simulators. So at the moment we have improvised simulators of F-16 almost on all the bases.
The pilots say for them, it's a matter of life and death. The attrition rate among combat aviators extremely high. Both Oleksiy's squadron leader and his wingman killed in combat, he says.
When you see the explosion of your colleague by your eyes in real time, it's a shock. It's a shocking picture, yeah. And the really big difficult in the situation, it's how to sit in aircraft again and again.
But when the call comes, they say they will be ready and back in the seat, taking the fight to the Russians.
TheAdvocateChannel.com looks at the world through the lens of equality and inclusion. Subscribe, like, and share now. AC 24/7's Top Story Countdown continues with our producer's pick for number 3.
The former president answering questions in his first TV interview since he was indicted on 37 federal charges, including conspiracy and retaining national defense information.
Why did you have this very sensitive national security defense documents?
In my case, I took it out pretty much in a hurry, but people packed it up and we left. And I had clothing in there. I had all sorts of personal items in there, much stuff. I have every right to have those boxes. This is purely a Presidential Records Act. This is not a criminal thing.
Trump's claims are untrue, and he is being charged criminally, with Florida federal judge Aileen Cannon setting a tentative but swift schedule, asking for pretrial motions to be submitted by the end of next month, with a trial date in Fort Pierce, Florida, set for August 14th. That date, though, will likely change, with Judge Cannon noting the parties could push back the trial start date because of the complexity of the case and issues related to classified information.
The Iran attack plan, you remember that? Ready? You were recorded.
It wasn't a document.
Trump denying news reports that he flaunted documents he knew were classified related to Iran in the summer of 2021 at his Bedminster Golf Club in New Jersey, even though, according to the indictment, he was captured in an audio recording admitting that the material was, quote, highly confidential and that it was still classified. Now he's insisting all he ever had were newspaper clippings.
These boxes were interspersed with all sorts of things, golf shirts, clothing, pants, shoes. There were many things. I would say much more, not that I know of. There was no document. That was a massive amount of papers and everything else talking about Iran and other things. And it may have been held up or may not, but that was not a document. I didn't have a document per se. There was nothing to declassify. These were newspaper stories, magazine stories, and articles.
I'm just saying.
All of these statements from Trump post-indictment could be admissible during his upcoming trial, but Trump continues to brush off the broad implications of his criminal charges.
So you're not worried about this case?
Based on the law, zero. Zero.
Like the Advocate channel on Facebook for the best way to get updates on stories that advocate for equality, justice, our rights, and more. AC 24/7 continues with today's Top 2 pick.
As summer heats up, blood donations are going down.
Last month, we collected over 26,000 fewer blood donations than needed to meet the needs of patients.
Tiffany Taylor with the American Red Cross says it's common to see blood donation declines this time of year as more people are traveling and fewer blood drives in places like schools. But she says the need for blood doesn't take a summer break.
When blood donations are low, this can lead to blood shortages, which affect our ability to support cancer patients in their treatment. It affects our ability to respond to medical emergencies and chronic blood conditions.
If blood isn't readily available, it can also lead to postponement of elective surgeries. Taylor says low donations are especially concerning for the approximately 100,000 Americans who suffer from sickle cell disease.
There is no widely available cure, and they often rely on regular blood transfusions to manage their pain and prevent life-threatening complications.
While donors of all blood types are needed, the Red Cross is especially in need of Type O, which is always in high demand. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Follow the Advocate channel on Twitter and Instagram to stay updated on stories that matter every day. Here's our #1 story of the day. Take a look.
A sound of hope in the search and rescue of the missing submersible with 5 people on board. According to an internal U.S. government memo, sonar picked up banging sounds underneath the water Tuesday at 30-minute intervals.
Regular 30-minute intervals is a man-made thing. It's not a natural occurrence. It doesn't happen like that in nature. It is a good sign of hope.
The memo was not clear as to when the banging was heard on Tuesday or how long it lasted.
They can triangulate on noise. Again, it's only happening every 30 minutes. They only have a data update every 30 minutes. So if it was happening every minute, it'd be a lot easier and a lot faster.
However, time continues to be a critical factor as the vessel's oxygen supply dwindles.
We will do everything in our power to effect a rescue.
So far, the U.S. Coast Guard says it has searched an area about the size of Connecticut.
Getting salvage equipment on scene is a top priority.
The U.S. Navy is sending a flyaway deep ocean salvage system similar to the one pictured here for retrieving heavy underwater items like the small submersible. On board, OceanGate CEO and founder Stockton Rush, British adventurer and businessman Hamish Harding, one of Pakistan's richest men, British businessman Shahzada Dawood, and his 19-year-old son Suleiman Dawood. And the vessel's pilot, French submariner and ex-Navy officer Paul-Henri Nargeolet.
If I was in a bind with anybody, it would be Paul-Henri Nargeolet. He would do everything he can, and without panic, to work his way out of that situation.
As the ongoing search and rescue continues, we're learning of concerns in 2018 regarding the planned expedition of the submersible to that Titanic wreckage site. In a letter obtained by the New York Times, and addressed to the OceanGate CEO, Stockton Rush, the Manned Underwater Vehicles Committee of the Marine Technology Society raised these concerns. Our apprehension is that the current experimental approach adopted by OceanGate could result in the negative outcomes from minor to catastrophic that would have serious consequences for everyone in the industry.